Parents, you know how it is. Doesn't matter where you're going or what you're doing or what time of day it is. If the kids are in the car with you, they're going to ask to stop and get food. They could have just eaten 5 minutes ago, but they're going to ask. And if there's one thing kids are good at, it's being persistent. Mom, can we stop? Dad, can we just get a few? Mom, can you get me? Hey, can we just stop? And then they ask, and they ask, and they ask. And a simple no, we're not going to do that today. That's enough, son. Nope, that's all. We're not going to stop today. Doesn't always put them off because they're so persistent. Do you know that Jesus actually teaches us this is a little bit of a model for our prayer? He teaches that in a parable in Luke chapter 18. This is what it says. In a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared about men. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with the plea, "Grant me justice against my adversary." And for some time he refused. But finally he said to himself, "Even though I don't fear God or care about men, yet because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice, so that she won't eventually wear me out with her coming." You see, a lot of times when we look at parables, we try to say, okay, who am I in this story? And who is God in this story? This parable is a little different. God is not the unjust judge who doesn't want to listen to the widow. But Jesus is giving a model of how we should approach this judge and say to God, you know, God, I have a plea for justice. I have a plea for your presence in my life and your action in my life, for my health or for my family or for protection or for, a blessing or for the opportunity to share a witness. God, I'm pleading with you, and I'm pleading with you. And Jesus is saying here that if we're persistent in our prayers, imagine what can happen. Now, this is how he explains it in the next couple of verses. Verse 6, the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says. And will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Will he keep putting them off? I tell you, he'll see that they get justice and quickly. However, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on the earth?" You see, for this parable, Jesus is not saying that God is an unjust judge. He's saying if even an unjust judge will give in to persistence, how much more will a God who loves you give in to your persistence? What do you need to be praying for? What have you prayed for maybe that you gave up on? What persistent thing do you want to bring into the presence of God? Now, I want to challenge you with something before you go to the throne again with something, a request. I want you to really think about what it is you actually want God to do. You see, so often we ask God to intervene in a specific situation in our life when really what we want God to do is to change us so that we can be in that situation who we were meant to be. Or really what we want is for God to change the hearts of people around us. Or really what we need is God to show up on a scale that we can't manage ourselves. So before you go to the throne, don't just go back with a simple request. We have a big God who answers very big prayers, who says that fervent prayer of faithful people matters. So I want you to ask yourself the question, what do you really want God to answer? Sometimes I've asked folks in my congregation this question before, and Union Hill folks, I want to ask you again. If God only answered one prayer today, what prayer would you pray? That's the one I want you to be persistent in. That's the one I want you to approach God with again and again and again. And not like a nagging widow and an unjust God or judge. We're beloved sons and daughters with a just God. If even an unjust justice will listen to persistence, how much more will God answer your prayer when you bring it to him fervently and pray in his name? God, in agreement with you, bless me and give me this of you in my life. What do you need to be praying for today?